We are live for another episode of Tough Talks with Thili and Dablock.
Hell yeah.
Oh man. So we here now, episode 13. We told y'all we was going to do this.
We 13 now? Damn.
Episode 13, at least. Well, there's 2 episodes that don't have numbers, and the number before that is 9. And then there's one that has 11. So
yep.
Yeah.
So if our math is correct.
If our math if our Tough Talk math is correct, then
yeah. We know our WWE math is normally correct.
It is. Hey, Becky's still the champ. Seth is champ.
Yes, they are. Kofi's still champ.
Kofi's still champ.
Yep, love it. Heavy Machinery are going for the tag titles.
Oh man. Ooh. Okay.
Big week in WWE.
Yeah, man. I honestly, true to the nature of the beast, I have been on the road most of the week. I mean, I have. Holy shit! I think I did 2 songs in the early part of the week. Then I did another song on a Wednesday.
Yep.
Thursday, I had to go pick up tickets for River Lions, and then I had a meeting at the club that we're hosting an event at July 27th in St. Catharines, the Detour Music Hall.
Yes, Detour.
And then
good place.
Yeah, man, a live event venue. And then went home. Then Friday was a big day. Like, we came out and we jammed. Like, we got to finally. This is the first time I was able to bring my family out to the River Lions game. So
nice.
That was nice, you know what I mean? I might eventually have like a sports podcast, like a general sports podcast.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
River Lions cast?
Yeah, man, River Lions cast. Like after the game, the day after the game or something, you know what I mean? Do a recap of what's going on. Yeah, man, that might be what's popping. But then, I was picked. Not only were we like 3 seats back from the baseline, right? But I was picked to take the half-court shot for $1,000.
That's awesome.
Bro, I'm telling you, we had to walk halfway around the arena to get back to where I was sitting, basically. But at the end of it, like, I got picked. I almost made the shot. I hit the rim. I was the closest person in the season. And I'm kicking myself because I know I've made that shot before. But, you know, it was fine. I got the opportunity to make it, you know. I'd like to thank Hub Insurance or Hub International for the opportunity, as well as the Niagara River Lions and Meridian Center for, you know, allowing me to, or humbling me by putting me center stage for, like, even that brief period of time. But, yeah, man, like, we got video of it. It's online on Expose the North, in the Expose the North chat room. The Expose the North room. Yeah, man. It, like, I'm telling you, bro, it was just, if that's what it feels like to be center stage, like, in a full, like, and the place wasn't even, there was people there, but it wasn't full up like it can be, you know what I mean? So, like,
yeah.
Like, I just, the feeling I got, though, it was just, like, all eyes on me for that brief period of time. I was just, like, I felt so, like, impervious to negativity. And then even on the way out, people are like, oh, good try, nice shot, you know what I mean? You were so close. You're so close. Yep. It's like, you know what I mean? And they're, like, slapping, like, you know how the wrestlers slap hands on the way down to the ring? Like, I was slapping hands on the way out of the basketball court, you know what I mean? Like, it was so live, so... just got to shout out everybody who was a part of that, you know what I mean? The River Lions included,
yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so, how was your week?
It was good. It was, you know, busy week. Heading to Montreal tonight for a couple days. Then I'll be back in town. Working on music, you know, as always. But yeah, that's about it, man. It's been busy and slow at the same time this week.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Okay, that's
but on the plus side, I mean, all of the wrestling was fucking awesome.
Okay, that's good. SmackDown Live. No, we're going for Raw. Yeah, I
recap first, boy.
Yeah, now I remember why I couldn't do. I was performing on Monday. That's why I didn't see Raw. So I performed on Monday. I was licked on Tuesday. No, I was at the studio on Tuesday. Wednesday, I don't even know what happened. Wednesday got away from me. And then, yeah.
Well, that's how you know you had a good day.
Yeah, you know? For real, though. For real.
Yep.
All right. Here we go. Oh, yeah, I see it now. Oh, shit. Apparently he has fractures, all kinds of fractures and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how, I don't know if that's kayfabe or not.
Okay.
I'll look into it while you read the story.
All right. We're on July 1st, 2019. Happy Canada Day for those of you who didn't hear it. All right. The previously announced Falls Count Anywhere match between Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley came to an abrupt halt when both superstars went crashing through the LED board following a brawl throughout the American Airlines arena, leading to a medically induced match stoppage. Strowman caused the chaos, charging former Intercontinental Champion through the boards and setting off a shower of sparks that briefly blacked out the arena. Despite Strowman initiating the collision, however, the impact did not spare the monster among men in any sense of the word. Both he and Lashley were incapacitated when the WWE officials hit the scene, and EMTs arrived quickly to extricate the two superstars from the wreckage. With WWE workers and stagehands looking on, Strowman and Lashley were each loaded onto stretchers and carted out of the arena, presumably to a local medical facility for evaluation.
I like how even WWE is not sure. They're like, presumably to a local medical facility. Like, I mean, yeah, that would be where you would go.
How do you not know where your people are going?
Well, not even when it's just your people. Let's look at the facts. They were put on stretchers by EMTs and then put in the back of an ambulance. Of course, they were going to a local medical facility.
Like,
there is zero presumption to be had there.
Wow.
Insane.
Wow. The writing just baffles me from time to time. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I just looked it up. Apparently, it's all kayfabe. Neither man is injured, and it's kind of to build up the feud to start in earnest. Like, instead of just all the feats of strength tests against each other,
yeah,
they're going to actually start having a real feud now. Is what I'm seeing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Samoa Joe joins forces with the Viking Raiders against the New Day. Samoa struck again in empathetic fashion on Raw. First with the Coquina Clutch to Xavier Woods that forced the disqualification stoppage of the New Day versus the Viking Raiders, leading to a victory for the New Day. And then after the match, reconfigured it to a six-man that teamed Joe with the Raiders and roped in all three members of the New Day opposite them. The addition of WWE Champion Kofi Kingston back to the ranks highly reinvigorated your boys against a trio of horses, but the Viking Raiders proved that near immovable against the title holders' arsenal. The big men occupied New Day's attention for most of the entirety of the second match, forcing them into to change course and take Eric and Ivar out of action to give them any of hope of winning. Kofi cleared the decks with the Trouble in Paradise to Ivar on the ring apron, but his team's preoccupation with the Raiders left them blind to a tag from Joe, who snuck up behind Kofi and put the finishing touches on the belt with the Coquina Clutch that put Kofi to sleep in the center of the ring. Yikes.
Yep. And they're doing what they should do. They're putting Joe over strong because you gotta keep him looking strong. And we'll see who comes out looking strongest next week before we decide on our WWE match for Extreme Rules. So far, I would guess that Kofi's retaining at Extreme Rules because Joe's got the better of him basically every week.
Yeah, except for that middle finger, which we'll talk about next.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, that's coming up in the SmackDown Snapchat.
Yeah. So, why did The Undertaker reemerge to battle Shane and McIntyre? As epic as it is that The Undertaker will team with Roman Reigns against Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre at Extreme Rules, the one lingering question surrounds the dead man's return as why was the one lingering question surrounding the dead man's return was why the legendary superstar decided to team with a man who sent him into a self-imposed exile for a full year. On Raw, we got our answer. Amidst rumors of his imminent arrival, Undertaker confronted the best in the world and the Gaelic giant at his side with some clarification as to why he roused the Reaper. Pointedly, both men scurried out of the ring despite beating their chests about fearlessness just seconds earlier. The dead man revealed that he didn't target Shane out of some kind of loyalty to Roman Reigns, as the big dog had never asked him for a favor. He returned for the sole reason of putting Shane O'Mac in his place. As a prodigy, he'd battled at WrestleMania in Hell in a Cell. Match had been consumed by the ego-grown monstrous run amok. Proclaiming himself as the Reaper of Wayward Souls, the dead man declared he was coming to collect, and Shane and McIntyre would suffer nothing less than a damnation at his hands. Taker's back.
Yep, I am hoping for a good showing at Extreme Rules for sure. I'm going to keep my expectations low, just because I've been burned by Undertaker return matches in the past.
Super Showdown burned us all, bro.
Yeah, it did. Also, his, the quote-unquote retirement match against Roman was not very good either.
Excuse me.
So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. I think it's probably a one-off thing, for another few months, maybe around Survivor Series, Taker shows up again or something like that. The thing we talked about last week with, the potential of the Fiend versus Demon Finn in like a year, when we've built both of them up very, very strong for a long period of time and then have to go at each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think Undertaker would be a good choice for somebody for Bray to beat in a small feud, because I think Bray is absolutely talented enough to carry another wrestler, like an older wrestler, to a safe and entertaining match. And I think because they both got the supernatural gimmicks going, and it'll fit all the better.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be my hope for the Undertaker over the next 6 months. I think if he comes back again, you put him in a feud with Bray. Bray goes over, move on to Bray versus Finn at either Mania or Survivor Series or whatever.
Ah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Corbin helps Evans earn a victory against Natalya. In 2 weeks,
that happened.
Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans have a rare opportunity to win 2 titles in one fell swoop. Seth Rollins' Universal Championship and Becky Lynch's Raw Women's title. And Raw gave the audience something of a preview of how that dynamic might work come bell time at Extreme Rules. While Evans was the only one of the two to compete, Corbin was an active coach in the sassy Southern Belle's effort against Natalya, and even got involved when he comparatively inexperienced Evans found himself at the mercy of the veteran Natalya. Corbin tripped up the Queen of Hearts as she started to roll, allowing Evans to recover and clock the Canadian with the woman's right. It was both savvy interference to boost Evans' confidence and a statement from Corbin. After all, his status as Universal Champion might come down to a woman who's been notable for almost beating Becky Lynch. Clearly, he's not going to allow almost to be the last words this time around.
So, fuck you, WWE, for making my girl Natalya lose on Canada
On Canada Day, you know what I mean? Like, eat shit.
You dirty bastard.
You couldn't even give us one Canadian a win, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or just put someone else in there to take the pin, and you don't necessarily have to tie into Canada Day if it means just making the Canadian female on the roster lose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this, like I said, this is all just to build. You gotta try to make Lacey look strong, and this sort of does it. It makes her look strong with Baron in her corner. I almost said Baron in her Corbin. With Baron in her corner.
Oh,
and,
Baron was in her Corbin. Whoa.
Yeah, whoa. We're not back to the Attitude Era yet.
Not yet, no.
They'll be the next Edge and Lita live sex show, Monday Night Raw. I'm calling it. But yeah, no, I think this is probably the good move to have Lacey go over in a way with Aaron helping her get the victory, because that's what it's going to take at Extreme Rules. So that's, you know, it's a good way to build up the potential for them to win, even if there's not a whole lot of potential for them to win.
Yeah, well, they're getting good at me not liking them, or making me not like them.
Absolutely, they're very hateable.
Yeah, very. All right, The Miz battles for retribution in a 2 out of 3 falls match. For all the righteous...
2 out of 3 falls match? When's the last time we saw one of those?
Last week, twice over.
Yeah, two times back-to-back, and then another time on Raw.
But it was during a commercial break, right? Like, they had it... Like, one of the falls happened, and then they had a commercial break, right?
Yeah, we had 3 fucking 2 out of 3 falls matches last week, and then another one this week. It's kind of losing its appeal.
For all of... I don't know.
It's just driving it into the ground. Like, they've got other stipulations they could put on these matches. Like, you could have a 30-minute Iron Man match, but you can't because they have to be able to go to commercials. Like, it's weird. It's exactly. A weird choice.
That's exactly what it is. So, like, they have to bear down on what it is that they're doing and make sure that, like, it works, because they're right. They're the only sport that goes on during the wrestling break.
I mean, but so I was talking about this with my buddy. I think that argument actually falls apart, because whereas in a wrestling match it's a continuous thing, right? There's no rounds, there's no time stoppages for injury things like for a member of a team like there is in football or basketball. There's no there's no points scored and then time taken. So it doesn't really, go against other sports in that way, because if you look at those ones, during all those things, they do commercial breaks. Like the UFC, if you're watching the prelims on TSN, right? Or if you're watching Fight Night on BT Sport in the UK, you get commercials in between every single round. Like, they have a 5-minute round, and then there's a minute break for the fighters to go to their corners and talk to their cornermen, and they go to a commercial break during that. So lots of things go to commercial. It's just not during the actual action. But with WWE, you have ways of showing what happened during the commercial, and part of the appeal is the continuous nature of it. And I feel like it's just kind of breaking it up and making an odd pacing where that doesn't need to happen. If they would just book the commercials to be in between talking segments rather than in the middle of where a match is going to be.
Okay.
Because I feel like it seems like something where Vince wants it to seem more real, and real sports don't have this, so we're not going to have this. Whereas, nobody really watches wrestling because they think it's real anymore. Like, it's not, this isn't 1983. We're not watching the fucking Fabulous Freebirds and the Von Erichs fight each other in Deep South, where everyone is kind of wise to the game at this point. We all know that it's set up, that it's a carny stuff. So I feel like they should just lean into it, or just book the show better, because what they're doing by having all these forced breaks and restarting matches with different things, that makes it seem like less of a real sport, because real sports don't, like, during a commercial break, you don't come back from Patriots versus the Eagles to see the Patriots versus the Giants.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying.
You don't go to a commercial break versus Ronda Rousey versus Amanda Nunes, and you come back and it's Amanda Nunes versus Chris Cyborg. That doesn't happen between commercial breaks like it does in these new, manufactured scenarios that they're coming up with.
I don't know. Like, for me to see one thing, to come back and see something other than what I left to see, it kind of makes me wonder how it came to be. You know what I mean? And then they explain it, but that's just me.
But yeah, and they show it in the screen by screen, and we get more action because of it. Like, if something cool happens during the commercials, but normally what the commercial break is a time for the wrestlers to not be going so hard. Like, normally during the commercial breaks, they go to more mat-based, more technical, moving around, hitting them a couple times in front of everywhere in the audience, all that stuff. They play up to the audience a little bit, and then when the cameras come back, they're in a similar or very different position, and when it's a very different position, we see what happened, and they explained it, and they can put it over as like, oh my God, what a turnaround we had. Whereas this way, it's just like, well, this is no longer a match, here's a new match. And I don't know, it just doesn't appeal to me as much. I feel like it's more cohesive when they just finish the match as they start.
Okay. For all of the Miz's righteous indignation, Shane McMahon's betrayal of a few months back, the A-lister has been short of victories against his former partner, to say nothing of Shane's various henchmen and goons. That changed in a major way on Raw, as the former WWE champion defeated Elias not once but twice in a 2 out of 3 falls match that gave Miz some hard-earned vindication after months of coming up heartbreakingly short. The A-lister came out swinging, dispatching Elias with a skull crushing finale for the early first fall. The Living Truth answered with drift away quickly thereafter, but it became clear in fall number 3 that Elias suffered by not having Shane at ringside this time around. With the bout on an even keel, Miz's heart kept him in the fight. When Elias's knee collided with the ring post after an errant charge on the apron, Miz quickly forced the Living Truth to tap out to the figure 4 leg lock. And given that everything he's been through lately, you could perhaps give Miz some slack for applying that hold a little bit past the bell and for smiling as he strolled up the ramp with Elias writhing in his wake. After all, it's been months of tough nights. It's about time he had himself an awesome one.
Yeah, I like I said, I mean, as sick as I am of, like, overuse of the stipulation, it was a good match. Like, it was a great match. I think it would have been even better if it was just, like, there wasn't all the stuff in the build-up. Like, there wasn't the 2-3 counts in advance. Like, if it just was, he hit the knee, or he hit the post with his knee, he brought him in, put him in the figure 4. Like, that's solid booking overall. So I like it. So, very good.
Yeah, all right. Mike and Maria Kanellis night goes from bad to worse against Rollins and Lynch. Mike Kanellis has been something of a quest to boost his star on 205 Live of late. If Raw is any indication, he and his wife Maria might be biting off more than they can chew, as the husband and wife duo challenged Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch to a mixed tag team match in the hopes of supplanting them as WWE's preeminent power couple. It did not go well for them. Rollins overwhelmed Mike and forced him to tag Maria, thereby summoning Becky in per mixed tag rules. Becky gladly would have thrown fists with Maria, had Maria not weaseled out of it by grabbing the mic at ringside and claiming she was pregnant before berating Mike for not being man enough to be the father. Becky quickly changed course by submitting Mike in the disarmer, though his troubles were just beginning. Maria got in the ring and unloaded on her husband for his perceived lack of manhood, claiming the only man in the ring was Lynch, and that she might have been better off if Becky was the father of her children. If you're Mike Kanellis, after tonight, the workplace grievances on 205 Live are probably looking pretty tame in comparison right about now. Wow.
Yeah, that was brutal. Me and my roommate were both watching when that happened. And
wow.
It was, like, shocking.
Wow.
I couldn't believe she said that. The funny thing is, it's not the pregnancy thing, not kayfabe. She is pregnant with their second child.
Second, yeah. Yeah,
I think third, because I think she had twins last time.
Fuck, you know better than me. I remember she was pregnant last time.
I pay attention to when Maria. I've subscribed to Maria's Instagram. We'll leave it at that. But I'm pretty sure she had twins last time. So yeah, I mean, hey, good for them. Some time off again for Maria. Mike and her had just signed new contracts, so they're good for another couple of years, I believe, contract-wise.
Okay.
And yeah, good for them. I like Mike Kanellis. His story is really, or Mike Bennett, not kayfabe. He seems like a really good guy. He's gone through a lot of stuff. He went through a lot of addiction issues and stuff like that, even as recently as I think last year. And he's cleaned himself up, got a family going. So good for him. I like Mike.
All right. I'm neither here nor there on either of them. Still, like they don't really. I don't see the 205 as often. Like I don't.
They're on 205 every week, and they do very good work on 205 Live.
Yeah, we should probably include 205 Live on this talk if we're talking about WWE.
Yeah, I gotta start watching it more. I missed it every few weeks. It's kind of like NXT with me. I'll go back and I'll watch like 6 episodes in a row.
Okay. Well, the Street Profits come to Raw to rub shoulders with Paul Heyman. Okay, maybe confronted is a strong word, but the NXT Tag Team Champions were out and about backstage on Monday Night Raw, dripping swag and initiating oddly intense encounter with Paul Heyman, who was trumpeted his last will he or won't he warning about Brock Lesnar's when the Street Profits came calling. Unfortunately for them, Heyman was none too moved by the Street Profits messing with his outfit and rubbing his head, and he opted to take his leave, though he did go out of his way to avoid the champs while exiting. Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford concluded they'd overstayed their welcome. They might have been a bit hard on themselves. After all, Heyman just wasn't receptive of them. It doesn't mean they shouldn't come back sometime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to disagree with the last sentence of that paragraph. And not because I don't like them. I love the Street Profits. They do amazing work on NXT. They are the NXT Tag Team Champions. However, the last time we saw NXT Tag Team Champions get brought up to Raw during their NXT Tag Team Champions reign, they were called the Viking Experience for some ungodly reason. And we all had to deal with that for fucking 2 weeks. So, I mean, let's let NXT keep using the champions that they've worked so hard to set up as champions, and stop fucking stealing all their goddamn talent all the time.
I think he's talking to you, Vince.
A little bit.
He might be talking to you, Vince. Or I'll call you Mr. McMahon out of respect, but like I'll also call you Vince because I can.
I love Vince more than as much as anybody does. Maybe more than most. But like, I just feel like that's one of the fucking issues where it's like, man, these guys are being built up currently. They just won the tag team titles at the last takeover, which was the takeover 25 before TLC. So like, how about we just give them some time to do their work in NXT, get over as the NXT champions, stay over as the NXT champions until they're ready to put somebody else over to be the next guys, and then bring them up. Like, do what has been set up over the last few years, because it's proven that when you bring them in too soon, it's not good for their run. Like it lessens their impact.
Because now what do they do? What is the Vikings ready to do? They're being dominant, but they're not getting any championship opportunities.
No, exactly. So it's it's very strange. Angelo and Dawkins have way too much charisma to be buried. Like, they are so goddamn good. This segment even was amazing. They kill it. It's just I just wish it had been on NXT with NXT people, where they're doing their goddamn thing right now. Like, they're putting in goddamn work and they're killing it. They're an amazing tag team.
All right, Nikki Cross. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, and one of them, Montez Ford, his girl is Bianca Belair from NXT, the EST of NXT. Like, she's a gangster. She's killing it there.
Yeah.
Let's let them rule in NXT for a bit before we bring them up.
True. All right. Nikki Cross battles for Alexa Bliss's honor against Carmella. Boy, I almost messed that way up. Is Alexa Bliss playing Nikki Cross? Carmella seems to think so, and she may have inadvertently proven her point by beating the goddess in an impromptu match stemming from a confrontation on A Moment of Bliss, where Carmella questioned why Cross's defeat of Bayley on SmackDown at Live led to a title match for Bliss instead of Nikki herself. The Princess of Staten Island's flash pin of Alexa led to Nikki challenge Carmella instantly thereafter, and Cross dispatched Mella with a swinging neckbreaker in a matter of minutes. Alexa was quick to join in the spotlight, raising her hand alongside Cross and declaring, "We won." That she lost her own match made no difference. After all, a win for Nikki Cross is a win for Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, this was a good segment. It did do the thing of, like, here's a match is over, here's a new match with one of the same people. Trope that they're going with lately, but It was, everything was pretty well orchestrated, and it's all, building this Alexa-Nikki feud.
Right on. You know, this is one of the old, this and Candid Conversations I don't get any copyright issues for. But the Terrell Effect, boy, every week I get like 15, like 12, 15. This is a copyright from this person. It's like, really?
Like, get out of here.
Like, beat it, Skeeter. Anyways, speaking of Skeeters, Drake Maverick forced to choose between his wife and the 24/7 championship. Let's say you're Drake Maverick, and your wedding day went down in flames after R-Truth relieved you of the 24/7 championship. Your marriage similarly immolated until you accepted your wife's offer to go on a honeymoon over the protest of EC3, one might add. And now you're faced with an ultimate choice, your bride or the love of your life. What do? If you're Drake, you try to do both, and you succeed. The 205 general manager brought his bride, Renee, to Raw as a stopover before their trip that seemed though was a thinly veiled last-ditch effort to win back the title. When Renee told Drake he'd have to choose between her and the championship, Truth was more than happy to rub salt in the wound by taunting Maverick over his continued reign. To his credit, Maverick stood strong, even refusing to budge from his ringside seat when the usual suspects chased Truth through the planned No Way Jose versus Cesaro match that never materialized thanks to the shenanigans. But Raw's waning moments, Drake made his move, hitting Truth with the back of his suitcase and pinning him backstage in the area to win the title before getting out of Dodge with his wife, who was too stunned to register everything that had just happened. Sometimes you really can't have it all.
So, yeah, big shout out to Renee, Drake's wife. She is hilarious in these segments. Like, the looks that she gives him for all the stupid shit that he's doing is brilliant. And she's playing her part on social media big time in this. There was a video up on, I think it was on WWE.com, but it was also on Drake's Twitter, where he had her blindfolded again and was saying like, "Oh, we're here, we're at our honeymoon," and he had taken her to Orlando, where they live, to be on their honeymoon because he had to be there for WWE. So very, very good stuff. You know, I love all this 24/7 segments. They're all really, really good. R-Truth is the goddamn greatest, and Drake Maverick is the perfect feud for it.
Yeah, that's just silly all over the place. All right, you want to handle the last one?
Pardon me?
You want to handle the last one?
Yeah, sure. This was my happy moment for sure of the week. This is I'll spoilers for the later in the show where I give my pros and cons. This is the pro. This is the greatest thing ever. United States champion Ricochet defeats AJ Styles, but the club reformed to attack Ricochet after the match. We have AJ Styles' non-title victory last week. Ricochet was as much an appetizer as it was a shocker. Here was a superstar returning from injury, defeating a newly crowned champion and seemingly seizing next man up status. But what happened in the follow-up this week was a statement. Still trying to bring out the real AJ Styles, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson stoked some backstage scuttlebutt to turn the friendly rivalry between Styles and Ricochet into a heated battle with the title at stake. During the title fight in Raw's main event, the Phenomenal One seemingly pinned Ricochet to become the United States champion, but the decision was reversed after a review as Ricochet's foot had been under the ropes. Hence, the bout was restarted. This is a good reason for a match to be restarted. This is good writing for that type of thing. If you're going to be doing that, you got to have some variety. You got to do something that's not, happening every single match. This was interesting. Ricochet's foot was clearly under the ropes. The refs started arguing. It went to commercial. That's a little bit of a cliffhanger. Comes back. Match is restarted. That's perfect. But anyway, with his victory taken from him, Styles was left flustered and out of sorts for several reasons. The looming presence of Gallows and Anderson at ringside being one, and Ricochet's persistence the other. Nothing Styles did seemed to be enough to keep the champ down. He had taken AJ's best shot, and the challenger struggled in orchestrating a follow-up. A brainbuster and rack bomb couldn't get the job done, but a dizzying roll-up by Ricochet did, and scored the 1-2-3 against Styles for a title retention. Styles seemingly begrudgingly accepted the result of the bout, even once again shaking Ricochet's hand. But when Gallows and Anderson climbed on the apron to mean mug their good brother, Styles surprised everyone by seemingly agreeing that he wasn't quite being himself. The Phenomenal One turned around and decked Ricochet, kicking off a three-pronged beating that included a magic killer from the Good Brothers and a second rope Styles clash from AJ. That was spectacular. That was an amazing Styles clash and had me legitimately frightened for Ricochet's well-being. It goes without saying that Ricochet showed his mettle tonight, but there's an argument to be made in hindsight that he didn't quite know who AJ Styles was. It's a mistake painfully rectified and dearly paid for. Great match. These two will put on an amazing match every single time they're in the ring together, guaranteed. Ricochet, obviously, is incredible at what he does. And AJ has been phenomenal, pun very much intended, for over a decade. So these two are going to kill it in this feud. And, I got what I've been begging for a fucking month, which is a club reunion. So let's keep that shit going. And I want to see more club on Monday, 100%. Like, I want to see a good club promo.
Okay.
And they've been going at it with people online, on Twitter and stuff. They've been going at it on social media. It's awesome. People have been saying, bring back people are saying that it's a neutered version because it's not called the Bullet Club. They're saying that AJ needs to go back to his Ring of Honor TNA style of himself, and they are going at each other, saying, like AJ said something about they said he's gone soft, and AJ said, I think Luke Anderson has something soft he's ready to hit you over the face with. So like they're going in on people, and it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun when they let them loose on the mic.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get some really good shit out of these boys. Good Brothers are fucking back on top, and AJ is gonna be ruling.
All right. We got a massive match was made on the Kevin Owens show.
Yes, it was.
The match was with the epic match against Undertaker and Roman Reigns at WWE Extreme Rules fast approaching. Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre arrived on the Kevin Owens show to address the daunting task now in front of them. Despite the dead man's pointed message to Shane O'Mac and the Scottish Psychopaths last night on Raw, the best in the world declared that he was not only was he not afraid of the Undertaker. That was such a bullshit sentence. What the hell do you mean that it was declared that not only was he not afraid of the Undertaker? Now it was declared that he wasn't afraid of the Undertaker, but that he and McIntyre would dismantle the Phenom at Extreme Rules in what was now a no-holds-barred match, which is really no different than a no disqualification match, which is kind of no different than
the same thing.
Falls Count Anywhere. Well, no, Falls Count Anywhere is different.
Yeah, no, I mean, no holds barred and no DQ are, for all intents and purposes, the same thing with different wording.
Yeah.
I think it's. I thought it was funny. Lance Storm, after this segment on Tuesday, Lance Storm was on Twitter saying, "I'm only being somewhat sarcastic when I ask this. What holds are barred in a regular match?"
It's true.
I was like, you know what, son of a bitch, I can't think of one.
Well, you can't hold them by their. Well, you can't. No, you can hold them by their neck. You can't hold them by their nuts.
Well, hey, Goldust used to get away with it. He would grab motherfuckers by the dick.
Yeah, that was very questionable.
So would Ric Flair.
Well, speaking of Ric Flair, I heard news about him.
Oh yeah?
That he was in the hospital with that he was brain dead.
No.
That's what I heard. I'm not saying it's true. But I'll read this one while you look that up. Despite the the bold declaration.
No, that's fake. That's fake.
Okay. The bold declaration halted when Owens suggested that Shane was indeed afraid of The Undertaker and began to needle him with digs that got under Shane O'Mac's skin. Before tensions could escalate too far, Dolph Ziggler interrupted, refusing to be overlooked for another WWE Championship opportunity. That sparked a back and forth between KO and the show-off, who was most deserving. And Shane granted both of them the chance to earn their way into a title confrontation, but not for the WWE title. Instead, Shane O'Mac announced that Ziggler and Owens would team up tonight to take on Heavy Machinery, and the winning team would be inserted into the WWE Tag Team match at WWE Extreme Rules.
Yeah, cool segment. It was the most tolerable Dolph Ziggler has been on television in a year. Kevin Owens and Ziggler actually had some pretty good banter back and forth during this segment. At one point, Dolph Ziggler said, the only thing you deserve to be champion of is a hot dog eating contest. And Kevin told him, oh yeah, Dolph, well, if I went into a hot dog eating contest, I would win, which is more than you can be said about you and wrestling matches. So that was pretty goddamn great. Kevin went off on him. The crowd got a big pop out of that. And then it set up the main event. So we'll kind of get into that at the end of it.
All right. The new Daniel Bryan defeat Big E. I don't know how the hell that happened. Rowan must have been involved.
It was.
With the New Day eyeing Daniel Bryan and Rowan SmackDown Tag Team Championship titles at WWE Extreme Rules, Big E and Daniel Bryan squared off in a one-on-one match on the Blue Brand. With Xavier Woods and Rollins at ringside, Big E suplexed the Beard around the squared circle with ease, though Bryan fired back with his signature punishing kicks. In the clutch, Rowan found a way to take out Big E at ringside behind the official's back and drop Woods right after he tossed Big E back into the ring, leaving him primed for Bryan's running knee, which clinched the victory ahead of the soon-to-be triple threat title defense at WWE Extreme Rules.
Extreme. Yeah, it was a good little match. It wasn't very long. They didn't try to force any restarts or anything like that into it. It felt good. It was a good match. Obviously you gotta have Rowan inject himself any way he can. Otherwise, why is he even at ringside? So that all works out really well. This rivalry is actually way more fun than I expected it to be, or than I would have expected it to be before seeing how good Rowan and Bryan are together as this Planet Tag Team thing.
Ah. Okay.
I think it's weird that he's okay with the leather belts on the tag titles. Hasn't got hemp versions of the tag team belts yet.
Yeah, maybe because they don't have it. Maybe because they don't have one of my designs to steal. Damn it! Watch, I'm gonna make a tag team belt. They're gonna change their goddamn tag team belts.
Well, hey, yeah, please do, because I actually don't really like the tag team title belt.
I don't know. The tag team titles they're meh. They're not as flashy as, and I don't think they're supposed to be as flashy as like the Intercontinental or the World or the Universal, but they still, I mean, come on.
Yeah, they should be better than what they are. They're not as awful looking as the 24/7 title, but they are also, more important than the 24/7 title, so they should be better.
All I know is I keep telling myself this: I will eventually buy one of the official titles. You know what I mean? I just have to. It's probably going to be the Universal because I like the red. But no, I might buy the World Championship. But this is something.
I think I want to get the IC belt. I want to get the white Intercontinental strap.
The Ivory title, yeah, man. Yeah, no, I want that Universal so I could say, yeah. Yeah, man, that's just me though. All right.
Oh,
Nikki Cross and Bayley exchanged words at a very special moment of bliss. Flipping the script you see, that's something I do on my goddamn show. You motherfuckers are just stealing my ideas and using them. Yo, because I do my candid conversations, right? And then I flip the script, and instead of asking questions, I let people ask me questions.
Right.
Come on. Come on. Okay, maybe I'm grasping.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm grasping.
Let's not take credit for the phrase flipping the script.
Oh no, I'm not taking credit for the phrase flipping the script, but like keeping it consistent. Like I haven't heard it said in a while. You know what I mean? Especially on WWE. Like we've read this for the last 13 weeks, and I've never heard the phrase until I kind of started doing it.
That's true. I say we boycott wrestling.
No, I'm not going to boycott it. I'm just going to keep doing influential things. Oh, man. So flipping the script on the usual Moment of Bliss format that typically sees Alexa Bliss try to provoke her fellow superstars, Nikki Cross hosted her BFF show and was joined by SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley, who will defend her title against Bliss at WWE Extreme Rules. Bayley and Cross dove deep into Nikki's friendship with Alexa and whether the goddess was using Cross. The conversation escalated with Bayley asking Nikki to contemplate why she wasn't the one to challenge for the SmackDown Women's title, especially after her success against Carmella last night on Raw. The same opponent Bliss was defeated by last night, and her victory over Bayley a week ago. Not to be deterred by Bayley's line of questioning, Cross pivoted, challenged Bayley to a matchup, and it would be contested next.
Yep.
Bayley defeats Nikki Cross. Doesn't it suck to challenge someone to a match and then lose? Damn.
Right?
Fresh off their exchange on a Moment of Bliss, Bayley and Nikki Cross went at it with Cross looking to wear down the SmackDown Women's Champion ahead of her title defense, and Alexa Bliss was fast approaching at WWE Extreme Rules. Cross brought her furious brand of offense to Bayley, but the hugger caught Cross with a Bayley to belly for the win. Why are you still calling her the hugger?
I don't understand, dude. They just keep going with it. She consistently reminds people every goddamn week that she's not the hugger anymore. But on WWE.com, they're insistent on using that goddamn nickname still.
Insistent. Like, oh.
They do it every week. Every single week they say the hugger. Every fucking week on fucking WWE.com. But on TV, it's always very much, I'm not the hugger. So let's get our goddamn messaging straight across.
Can we get it straight, please? You're confusing the masses. That's what's up. All right.
Exactly.
Kofi Kingston and Samoa Joe come face to face with their WWE Championship match at WWE Extreme Rules. You know how many times I said WWE in this damn WWE broadcast? Like, fuck.
Because they, for some reason, they feel like they have to brand every pay-per-view beyond the branding of the pay-per-view. Like, it's never just, next week on Stomping Grounds, it's on WWE Stomping Grounds next week. There will be this match and that's all at WWE Stomping Grounds. Like,
yep.
I think we can just call it Stomping Grounds. I think we can just call it WrestleMania. I think we can just call the fucking pay-per-views what they're called. Like, we don't say come face-to-face on WWE SmackDown Live every week. We don't. We
don't. But be careful, they might start doing that shit too.
No. They won't. They're not listening to me. They haven't stolen any of my shit yet.
Yet is the operative word. With their WWE Championship match at WWE Extreme Rules less than 2 weeks away, Kofi Kingston and Samoa Joe are scheduled to come face-to-face on SmackDown Live, just one night removed from Joe's brutal assault of Kingston on Raw. The Samoan Submission Machine questioned Kofi's relationship with the WWE Universe and his New Day brothers, suggesting that Kofi was nothing without Xavier Woods and Big E. Kofi retorted saying that he had earned all his successes and then questioned Samoa Joe's motives. Kingston suggested that Joe's new method of hide-and-seek attacks were beneath him and that he lost his edge. Joe continued insults about Kofi's family, but Kofi flipped it on him, saying that Joe would never have a WrestleMania moment with his family like Kofi did this year. The Samoan Shark then turned the tables once more, offering the WWE Champion a handshake with caveats. If Kofi shook his hand, then Joe would promise the safety of everyone in Kofi's life between now and WWE Extreme Rules. Kofi didn't respond with a handshake, but a gesture of his own that was likely very popular with a WWE Hall of Famer, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And enraged Joe was caught off guard, and Kofi caught his foe with the Trouble in Paradise, proving he wouldn't be intimidated ahead of their showdown in 12 days.
Yeah, I mean, these two are amazing on the mic. I just watched this, before we went on the air and stuff. It's fantastic. It's a great segment. Kofi flipping the bird was awesome. Kind of a hint towards things to come if the backstage reports are to be believed, which is that we're at the end of the PG era currently, and we will be moving off onto like PG-13 like it used to be fairly soon. So that would be awesome. And if this is a hint of things to come, love it. Absolutely beautiful.
Okay. After weeks of conflict, Apollo Crews and Andrade looked to settle their differences in a one-on-one action on SmackDown Live. Apollo put the pressure on Andrade from the jump, looking to pick up one of the biggest victories of his blue band tenure. However, Zelina Vega tipped the scales in Andrade's favor when she sent Crews face-planting into the announcer's table with a wicked Hurricane Rana while the officials were checking on the former NXT champion. Andrade took advantage by nearly diving Crews to the canvas with a thunderous hammerlock DDT, also known as Que Paso, to claim a victory. Que Pasa, man. Like, he needs to shout it out as like, Que Pasa, as he's dropping him. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's a little... It's stereotype. I know, I get it. You know what I mean? But still.
No, it's not even the stereotype thing of it. I think it's too goofy for his character to be saying, you know, what's up when he's doing such a badass hammerlock DDT into the mat.
Okay, maybe after he gets up. Like, maybe after he drives him into the cabinet. Que paso? You know what I mean? Like, what happened?
I think it's awesome that is like your favorite. That's your favorite fantasy booking for Andrade is just to have him yell out the most obvious Mexican catchphrase of all time every time. He might as well go andale, andale.
No. We're not going that far.
He's gonna yell andale, andale, and then run really fast backstage.
Oh man. Like it's not like they haven't made bookings more obvious than that before.
The Block is a racist, ladies and gentlemen.
Nowhere close to it. I might be a little prejudiced and ignorant, but no. I can't say I'm racist. No. I'll claim a little bit of prejudice, but that's just me. And that's only because of bias towards a particular culture. So, oh man. So what do we got now? Ember Rose defeats Mandy Moon. Yeah, I messed that one up hard. Ember Moon. Mandy Moon, yo. Mandy Moon.
I'd like to see a Mandy Moon.
Oh man.
Ba-dum-bum. Shout out Wrestle with the Fly. They got Mandy Moon.
Oh, big up Mandy Moon. All right. Ember Moon defeats Mandy Rose. After weeks of being bullied and embarrassed by Fire and Desire, including last week when she was defeated by Sonya Deville, Ember Moon looked to retaliate against Mandy Rose. After an early distraction from Sonya, Mandy jumped all over Ember, grounding the War Goddess early in the bout. Ember battled back, however, catching the God's great creation with a dazzling double knee attack and a ring-rattling eclipse for one of the sweetest 3 counts of her career thus far.
Yeah, she might have hit the best eclipse of her career in that match. It was so perfect, and Mandy sold it so well. That was spectacular. I loved that.
All right, it's main event time.
Yes, it is.
All right, take that.
All right, Heavy Machinery. There, you read the what's it called? The headline, because you've got the better headlines on the app than I do on my thing.
All right. Heavy Machinery defeats Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler to advance to WWE Extreme Rules Tag Team Championship Triple Threat match. Boy, that was a mouthful.
Yeah, that was actually pretty close to mine, except for mine just didn't have any of the flair to it.
Okay.
With SmackDown Tag Team Champions Daniel Bryan and Rowan, and the New Day commentating from ringside at separate tables. Heavy Machinery and Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler squared off, with the winning team getting the opportunity to join the SmackDown Tag Team title match at Extreme Rules. I'm not saying WWE each time. Fuck you.
This is our show. We're doing it our way.
Yeah, I'm going to read this the way I want to. Fuck your writers. Title match at Extreme Rules. However, early in the match, tensions overflowed on the outside, with Big E and Woods brawling with Bryan and Rowan. But the Planet's Tag Team Champions got the best of the exchange when Rowan viciously dropped Woods through a table, and all 4 were ejected from ringside. Heavy Machinery's experience as a tag team put them over the top when they capitalized on a minuscule. There's a lot of spelling errors in this one, boys. Capitalized on a minuscule. What? Wait, no. Oh, miscue. Whoops. Wow. Never mind. That's all me. Capitalized on a miscue between Ziggler and Owens that saw KO get accidentally super kicked in the face by the show-off. The inadvertent strike opened the door for Otis and Tucker to obliterate Owens with the compactor and seal their entry into the SmackDown Tag Team title bout at Extreme Rules. See, they just said Extreme Rules there. They didn't say WWE Extreme Rules. So they didn't even want to say it anymore. And those motherfuckers get paid and yelled at to do it. A frustrated Ziggler confronted KO after the defeat, but Owens turned the tables by dropping Dolph with a stunner and boldly redeclaring that the blue brand was his show, that being the Kevin Owens show, of course. And hell yeah, it was. So, a lot of people were saying that this was a Kevin Owens face turn. I don't know that I necessarily buy it as a face turn, just because he attacked a heel doesn't make it a face turn, you know? He kind of was screaming at the audience that this was his show, so I don't know if that's him yelling at them or screaming to them. It was kind of hard to read. So we'll see where they go with it on Tuesday, or maybe Monday if they decide to bring that god awful wild card rule back.
Oh, they're not haven't they been using it?
They haven't gotten rid of it, but they're not really talking about it anymore on TV, which I think is the first step to just dropping it completely.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes. So either Monday or Tuesday we'll know more about if this was a face turn for Kevin or if it was just, Kevin being Kevin and taking it out on his tag team partner, and whose fault it actually was this time, and then screaming at the audience. So we'll see where that lands next week.
All right. So
something else I wanted to bring up that didn't get its own paragraph or section on the review here is on SmackDown. There was another video package of Aleister Black in that dark room, just talking to the camera, talking about wanting an opponent and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he said last week that somebody knocked, and when he opened the door, no one was there. And that he's happy because now it means they're not fighting on just a physical plane, but a mental and spiritual plane. All that other crazy black metal shit that Aleister Black says. But me and my buddy, shout out Steve French out in Vancouver. Me and my buddy were talking about who we think it's going to be, and we both landed on it's got to be Bray.
I was just thinking the same thing. Get out of my head, bro.
Aleister's gonna let him in. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what Bray's looking for.
Yeah.
So I think this is gonna be very, very, very interesting. I think it's gonna be a really good feud. I can't wait to see the Fiend in his new, in the in-ring element of it.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen, all those great Firefly Funhouse videos. Those seem to have ended, and he now, like he had said in the last one, it's time to come out of the Funhouse and get the, get a following again. So that's going to be some good shit. I can't wait to see what they do with it. If they're going to have him, kind of recruit people again, or if he's just going to be himself. I hope he's just himself and doesn't have like a team other than the puppets.
Yeah, because Rowan and Harper and Strowman are all doing their own thing.
Harper hasn't been on TV since fucking March or April.
Yeah.
And Rowan is currently co-tag team champion. So I don't think he's going to get the old team back together. Regardless, I don't think that's a very good move. I think that's just kind of putting him back where he was.
Yeah.
And I think even to give him anybody is kind of doing that. So that's why I think, like I said, I think they should keep him alone and have him be like he's his own. He doesn't need anybody but the Fireflies. Like he doesn't need anybody but his followers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's gonna be great shit. I can't wait for him to be back on TV.
All right, click it home. So what else we got here from NXT?
From NXT, totally honest, I haven't seen this week's NXT yet. The next NXT pay-per-view, so TakeOver, will be SummerSlam weekend in Toronto.
SummerSlam in the 6, baby!
Yep, SummerSlam in the 6 all day.
I will be at SmackDown Live. Check me out. I'll probably have my title belt running about. I might have my cloak and things. Who knows? Who knows?
They're gonna blur it out when you hold it up on TV.
I don't care. They'll see me holding up something. They'll see me holding up something.
They don't want anyone seeing the belt that they took the sign from.
Okay.
Like they'll try to hide your claim.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be big. I think we might get maybe I guess probably not Shayna Baszler versus Io Shirai, because I think Io Shirai is now going to be feuding with Candice LeRae. But it would be really cool for Io to get the title as a heel. I think that would be a very interesting move for them. I mean, other than that, the big thing that I would have to say about NXT this week is let NXT stay NXT. Like let don't force their people out before they're ready. But other than that, I mean, NXT is always killing it. I do, like I said earlier, I do the same thing as I do at 205 Live. Every 6 weeks or so, I binge watch all the episodes that I've missed, get caught up, and that's probably going to be coming up actually pretty soon. Actually, no, it'll be a few weeks. But I will definitely keep up on any news stuff that's coming out. But there just hasn't been much. It's been kind of a slow news week outside of the actual WWE. With the Heyman and Bischoff stuff, the backstage reactions to Heyman and Bischoff's return, and to what they've been able to add so far, and all that's been positive. Everybody seems very happy that the Bish is back and that Heyman is doing his thing. So yeah, that stuff's all great. As AEW, not much news this week. We're kind of just waiting for Fight for the Fallen, which is coming up later this month. That's in a few weeks, and that's going to have some pretty good matches on it. But we're still on the lookout. They've put a copyright in for Wednesday Night Dynamite, so that seems to be the show. We're still looking at them debuting the same week as SmackDown debuts on Fox later in October.
All right.
New Japan, same thing. It's kind of a slow time right now. The G1 Climax starts this weekend. Starts I think later tonight. So next week there's definitely going to be some New Japan to talk about, because the G1 Climax is huge, and we'll have 3 new Jon Moxley matches to go over by next Saturday.
All right. Now we got the UFC.
Yeah, so tonight is a really big UFC event. It starts at 6:15 p.m. for the early prelims, which is so an hour and 15 minutes from now. We're going to be seeing Julia Avila versus Penny Kienzard. That's a decent match. It's not one of the bigger matches that we're looking at today. It's Julia is 5 wins, 1 loss. Penny is 11 wins and 4 losses. So Penny's got a lot more experience than Julia, but Julia's an up-and-coming prospect who people should definitely keep an eye on, especially considering she's only ever lost 1 time so far. Then after that we have and that's at women's bantamweight, which is the current queen Amanda Nunes's throne. So everyone coming up in that division, is looking to try to fight Amanda at some point. Then we have Ismail Nardiev versus Chance Rikuntra. Never heard of Chance, to be fair, but he is 13-3, so that's a pretty good record. He's going up against Ismail Nardiev, which is 18, who is 18-2 currently, which is a very impressive record. Both of them are fighting in the welterweight division. And then for the last one on the prelims, we have Edmund Shabazian versus Jack Marshman. Both are very, very skilled fighters. Edmund is 9-0. Jack is 23-8. So we've got young undefeated again coming up against a veteran of the sport for sure.
Okay.
That's just the early prelims. Those are available only on UFC Fight Pass. In the main prelims, we've got Alejandro Perez versus Song Yadong, which is 21-7 versus 13-3 at bantamweight. We've got Claudia Gadelia, who is 16-4 in the women's strawweight division, versus Randa Marcos, who's a Canadian girl. She's 9-5. I am very torn in this fight. They're both super talented. They're both badasses.
Canada all the way, baby.
Pardon?
I said Canada all the way, baby.
I know, and that's probably got to be my deciding factor. It's just I love both of them. Like I was hoping they would kind of just be ships in the night and not end up fighting each other, because I don't want to see either of them punch the other one in the face. But it'll be a great fight. They're both amazing. Claudia is spectacular, 16-4. Randa is 9-5. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be very interesting. They're both coming off of, I think, 3 to 4 fight win streaks right now. So that's a really good one, especially to be on the prelims. That's a pretty good fight. After that, we got Marlon Vera, 13-5 versus Nohelm Hernandez, who's 9-2. That's in the men's bantamweight. We've got Gilbert Melendez versus Arnold Allen, 22-7 versus 14-1. That's at featherweight, so they would be in our boy Max Holloway's division. So they're, these guys are trying to get up in those ranks there. And then the main card tonight is a really, really big fight card. The main card starts with Diego Sanchez. Diego the Nightmare Sanchez is 29-11. He's a 10.5-year veteran of the UFC. Last night he was inducted into the Hall of Fame for his fight with Clay Guida in 2009. So him and Clay got put into the fight wing of the UFC Hall of Fame, which is huge.
Okay.
And he's fighting against Michael Chiesa, who is 15-4 and is doing, I believe, his second fight at welterweight after moving up from 155, where he was going through a brutal weight cut that he just could not, his body couldn't take it anymore. So very glad that he's moved up to 170, where he can, not have to cut as much weight. He can kind of chill out a little bit and get some good fights in. He's a more young up and coming guy still. But lots of fights on his record. 15-4 is nothing to sneeze at for sure. Yeah, and then at light heavyweight, we've got John Blachowicz versus Luke Rockhold. This is Luke Rockhold's first fight at light heavyweight. He's very much the same thing as Michael Chiesa. He was not getting it done at his previous weight class at middleweight. He decided he needed to move up. He's now got a very, very easy cut at 205, which hopefully will help him keep his gas tank up. Maybe allow him to take a couple punches better. He famously, and I think it was his last fight, fought Yoel Romero about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And he got one of the most vicious knockouts I've ever seen in my life. He got just bashed in the face to the point where he went back first into the cage and fell down on his ass. And then while he was on his ass, he got drilled in the face by, Yoel Romero, who is basically built out of concrete and seems to be getting younger
Romero
every year.
is no joke, bro. I seen him fight.
Yeah, right. Yoel Romero is no joke at all. In my opinion, Yoel Romero should be the middleweight champion right now.
I think I saw his first fight. It was phenomenal, bro.
He's spectacular. He's a spectacular fighter. His next fight's going to be a real tough fight. He's fighting Paulo Costa in, I think, 3 or 4 weeks. and that's going to be a big fight. Those two boys are very similar to each other. They're Latin dudes who are just jacked to the gills and seem to be getting better every single fight. Paulo is like a young Yoel to me. He's like a younger Yoel Romero. So that's going to be a banger of a fight. But yeah, back to Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold got knocked out cold by Yoel really, really brutally, which is it's not something that is to be ashamed of by any means, but he got fucked up really bad. He also got fucked up by my boy Michael Bisping 2 fights before that fight, which is what made Bisping the middleweight title holder when he fought George St. Pierre at UFC 200 a couple years ago. So this is a big fight for Luke. He's kind of got to win this to stay relevant at the moment. I think he's on a 2 or 3 fight losing streak.
Wow.
So if he doesn't win this, it's kind of it's not a good look for him. That's for sure. But once again, it's not something to be ashamed of because John Blachowicz is 23-8 at the light heavyweight division, and this is John's this is the weight class John's used to, and this is Luke's first time there. So we'll see. And then we got the 3 headlining fights. In my opinion, the people's main event is the third to last fight of the night, which is Jorge Masvidal versus Funky Ben Askren. Ben Askren is a goddamn legend. He's so good. He's 19-0 in mixed martial arts across. He's a champion in 2 separate organizations. He's fought now in 3 separate major organizations. He ran his division in Bellator. He ran his division in ONE FC, which a lot of people used to shit on. Say you're not fighting the best when you're in ONE FC. But then we saw a couple people from the UFC get moved over to ONE FC, like you got your Eddie Alvarez's and your Sage Northcutt. They both went over to ONE FC, and they got knocked the fuck out in the first round by ONE FC fighters.
Okay.
So it's hard to deny ONE FC has incredible talent now that they kick the shit out of some UFC talent.
Is ONE FC the NXT to the UFC?
No, ONE FC is the New Japan to WWE. Like they're an Asian fight organization. I believe they're based out of Singapore, but they're really good. That's where Demetrius Johnson is now. And in fact, the reason Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse, he was the flyweight champion until Henry Cejudo beat him. The reason that he's in ONE FC right now is because for the first time in mixed martial arts history, 2 organizations decided to make a trade for talent, like a straight trade, not no payment. And UFC traded Mighty Mouse to ONE FC in exchange for Ben Askren's contract. And Ben Askren came in. He fought Robbie Lawler 5 months ago, I believe it was. It was on the same card that Tyron Woodley lost his welterweight title to Kamaru Usman. And Ben Askren beat Robbie Lawler in the first round in that fight. Now he's coming up against Jorge, or as he calls him, George Masvidal. And there's no love lost between the two. Jorge definitely hates Ben. He talks mad shit about Ben. Any chance he gets. Ben cracks mad jokes about Jorge whenever he can. Calls him George in the media consistently. And yeah, it's going to be a banger of a fight. They're going to go after each other. George is going to try to knock Ben out. Ben is going to do what Ben does, and he's going to grab him in a double leg. He's going to lift him up and drop him, and then he's going to lie on him, and he's going to smother Masvidal. That's what he wants to do for the whole fight. He wants to smother him and sap every bit of energy out of the guy, and put this little win streak that Jorge's been on to a halt. That's going to be a really good fight too. Very interesting because it's 2 very different styles. But then we have the 2 main events. Co-main event, women's bantamweight title. Amanda Nunes, 17-4, the greatest women fighter of all time for money, is fighting Holly Holm, who's 12-4, best known as the one who first knocked out Ronda Rousey. She was to Ronda Rousey mixed martial. Amanda Nunes was second to beat Ronda Rousey, and she decided to do it at the time that Holly did. Holly's last fight was against Chris Work for the featherweight title, in 5 rounds in. She lost every round. The Nunes fought for Holly knock Chris Ibordo in less than a minute. So Amanda is definitely the favorite here. She's proved herself to be, like I said, I think she's the greatest women's fighter of all time across any sport. She's just a badass, and she's killing it right now. And then we have the main event. It's John Jones at light heavyweight, defending his light heavyweight title. He is 24-1 with one no contest. One no contest. It should be noted. The no contest is because he got caught doping before his fight with Daniel Cormier, the second fight where he beat Daniel. He tested positive for turbinol. That turbinol still occasionally shows up in the system in very trace amounts, but the commissions have been letting him fight because they say it doesn't show that he reused it. It's just lingering effects, which is not a good enough excuse for anybody else. There's actually a fight on this card that got canceled with Sugar Sean O'Malley, who tested positive 6 months ago, served a suspension, came back. They found the same substance in his new test, told him it doesn't show that you've redone it, it's just a straighten up from the last thing. He said, cool, so I can fight. They said no, because you're John Jones, and we only make special arrangements for Mr. Jones, because he pays our bills, apparently, with his fine. And John Jones is allowed to fight on this card, and Sugar Sean's not. So, very interesting, very, very interesting. But yeah, John Jones is fighting Thiago Santos, who is 21 wins and 6 losses, and is a savage beast coming straight out of Rio de Janeiro. The guy is a bad motherfucker. He's got a sledgehammer tattooed on his chest that goes all the way down to the sniper. The guy throws insane punches. Block, I will send you a highlight reel after it because you will want to see this guy hit people. The guy is a monster. He's so insane. And it's unlikely overall. It's looking unlikely that Thiago will beat John Jones, but it's totally possible. Anything's possible in combat sports. And if he can manage to knock out John Jones in a light heavyweight title fight, it'll be one of the biggest upsets in UFC history.
Oh man.
Yeah. So tonight's one to watch. It starts at, like I said, starts at 6:15. That'll be on UFC Fight Pass if you subscribe to that. If not, you can get a free trial by going to UFC.com UFCFightPass.com. And after that, it starts up on TSN at, I believe, 7 o'clock. No, 8 o'clock. It starts on TSN, and then 10 o'clock on pay-per-view or whatever illegal stream you may or may not find.
Okay. All right. So, oh man, you see the difference between this and other shows is we go over a lot of stuff, and we condense it. We try to condense about 8 hours of content into an hour and a half.
Yep. Very difficult.
It's not easy at all. It's more than it's like 15 hours of content we got to squeeze into. Because if you look at it, in New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW, like Raw and SmackDown alone are 5 hours.
Yep. And then NXT is an hour, 205 Live is an hour. There's a bunch of news outside of it, which we could round up to about an hour.
Yep.
There's, on weeks like this, there's a major UFC pay-per-view with 2 different titles on the line. There's, when AEW has their weekly show, that's going to be a thing that's 2 hours long. New Japan is starting the G1 Climax this weekend. That's like 6 hours of wrestling for this weekend. It's crazy, man. There is a lot of shit to go over in combat sports and sports entertainment for sure.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's what it is. Share now, public. Oh man.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think we covered it all.
I think we covered it all, man.
Yeah, man, we covered it all. So that has been your Tough Talks with Thili and Dablock. Tune in next week when it's not this week that Extreme Rules is, next week's Extreme Rules. So tune in next week and we'll give you
12 days away.
We'll give you the WWE math for Extreme Rules coming up in 2 weeks. And,
Next week will be the WWE math.
Yeah.
2 weeks will be when we know if our WWE math was correct as it usually is.
Exactly. So far, we've been right. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully Heyman can change that a little bit.
The predictability, that was one thing I never found with WCW under Eric Bischoff. It was never really too predictable until a point.
Yeah, and even when it got bad, it wasn't predictable. It was because it was unpredictable for no good reason. Like, there was just random shit happening. Like, that awful WCW New Blood Rising pay-per-view was a goddamn horror show.
My goodness, I just realized I have, like, a wealth of brooches. And I'm not talking about the ones that scurry on legs.
You gotta make a grandfather.
Yo, I'm telling, like, yo, my birthday's coming up, so that might end up as an ooh-wop.
Boom, there you go.
July 22nd, I will be celebrating my birthday. I don't know with who, I don't know where. All I know is when and what and why. Because I can. On July 22nd, I will be celebrating my birthday. So, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That will be a positive situation for me. I don't know if the 21st I might be at a barbecue in St. Catharines.
Right.
So that'll be, you know what I mean, something there. I'm gonna see who I can invite there. But yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. I think we're filming a music video as well. So
Dope.
Yeah, there's gonna be something going on. July 27th.
Very similar to the plan for mine in August.
Yes. July 27th. Wait, when's your birthday?
August 30th.
August 30th. Okay, cool. Sounds good. So, yeah, man, it'll be live still. July 27th, we have Private Name, Private Number performing at the Detour Music Hall in St. Catharines, 88 St. Paul Street. Be there for the recipe release party where he will be releasing.
Best gimmick in the game.
Pardon?
Best gimmick in the game. Private Name, Private
Number. Private Name, Private Number. I'm telling you, man, he knows what he's doing. The man is serious. So, yeah, man.
Best gimmick in the game.
Check it out, man. Like, check him out. Private Name, Private Number on YouTube, on all streaming platforms. His music's available. Also, check out Stoddy P and Distinct Coalition. You know what I mean? You also got to check out Ezza and NLit CD. That's on smarturl.it/ENLIT. I got it this time. Last time I said
Absolutely.
it was Tiny URL. It's Smart URL. Smart URL.
Oh, nice.
.it/ENLIT. Also, letsbeef.com has relaunched LB Radio. So yours truly, Dablock, will be on Let's Beef Radio with his revised episodes of Block Talks. I might change the name of the show. But I think Block Talks fits Battle Rap website for him, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. 100,000%. I think you'd be crazy to change the name.
All right, well then I'll keep it the same. Block Talks will be on LB Radio in the next few weeks. We just have a few details to iron out. So check out for that. We will be doing battle analysis. We will be analyzing tracks from artists. We will be going over the pages and seeing what's new in the forums. That's what's up. So tune in for details. Tune into the Terrell Effect on Saturday at 12 p.m. That happens before this show. And tune into Candid Conversations on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. I got a lot going on, ladies and gentlemen. But this is Tough Talks with Thili and the Block.
Yeah, the Block's got all of the shows.
Yeah, man, I showed you.
If you've been wondering why you don't have a show yet, it's because Block already has it.
Oh, that's great. You're great, bro.
He snatched it up.
What's that? You were thinking of a show? Too late. I already got it.
He went to the show store and cleaned up all the stock.
Clean it up, yo.
Display. The motherfucker took the display unit.
Yo, man, why you need a display if you ain't got the show to display it on? I'm just saying. Cleaning the house, bro. Cleaning the house. All right.
Absolutely. Fire sale.
Fire sale. Oh, man. So, yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And remember, when you get to this degree, when you get to if you in a fight and you want to see yourself get past a losing degree, all you have to do is remember, hit them with your finisher, and then 1, 2, 3. Yeah, bro. That's it for us. For Tough Talks with Thili and Dablock, this is The Block for Thili saying, we out.
We out.